Say you condemn Hamas. Say I'm Israel. Hi. Say you condemn October 7th. You are Hamas. What's going on, everybody? I hope everyone's having a fantastic evening, afternoon, pre-noon, no matter where you are in the world. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HasanDaily broadcast coming to you live from gloomy New York, ladies and gentlemen, concrete jungle where dreams are made of. There's nothing you can't do. Welcome to New York. I'm Hasan Piker, and this is the HasanDaily broadcast, and it is a beautiful day.
Socialists don't always win. Recently in New York, though, a charismatic young socialist, supported by both DSA and working families, running on a platform of affordable housing, publicly owned grocery stores, and more mental health responders instead of cops, actually won the Democratic primary. Back in 2021, Buffalo, New York re-elected centrist Democrat Byron Brown as the mayor. After losing the primary to a DSA candidate, Buffalo's establishment freaked out. Millionaires, real estate moguls, Republican donors, all terrified by the prospect of a politician they hadn't completely bought and paid for running a major city, formed a united front basically overnight and swept Brown into office on a write-in campaign and a mountain of establishment money. Despite losing the Democratic nomination, Brown won the general.
This is a comparison that I've brought up quite a bit in the primary, especially leading up to what might happen with Zohran, and a concern that I raised right after Zohran's victory, if you recall.
The party left Walton out to dry, and that meant that even though Brown was notoriously corrupt to the point the FBI was looking into his entourage, that poverty in Buffalo was going up, and that the racial wealth and homeownership gap was one of the worst in the country after 15 years of Brown being mayor, or even just the fact that he simply filed too late and couldn't legally be on the ballot, and so he needed help from the district judge, the brother of one of his top donors, none of that ultimately mattered. Buffalo got bombarded with Brown ads and door knockers and mailers. Meanwhile, Walton's life got put under the microscope. And the best the media could come up with, by the way, was that she did $300 worth of food stamp fraud at 21, 18 years before the election, didn't show up to court one time because her summons was sent to the wrong address, and at one point posted a, frankly, really good Facebook comment.
This is another reason the broad positive reception for Zohran, in spite of similarities, is also another sign of the times. What I talked about in my Graham-Plattner analysis was this. While the establishment tricks remain, it seems that the voters have changed, partially due to the fact that those establishment tricks have consistently yielded failure after failure. It's been a long time. I do think now there is more momentum in this alternative.
But the Buffalo elite wanted Brown, and Brown...
Dude, Byron Brown is such a fucking piece of shit that he literally left halfway through the job to go work for a fucking casino that he literally ran specifically so that he ran as mayor specifically so that he can finish the gambling contract for the casino, and then left halfway through the job. Spoiler alert. I'm sure he's going to bring it up, but it's really fucked up.
On December 31st, he was sworn in and got an extra 3 years as mayor of New York's second largest city, until he resigned to be CEO of a horse betting company or something. The rich came for Walton's head in Buffalo, but Zohran's in the financial and cultural capital of the world. That's not going to cut it. They're going to need him to be obliterated. Before we get to the rest of the video, I want to take a quick second to do a shameless plug for our Patreon. If you're in a position to chip in a few dollars a month to support the channel, we would greatly appreciate it. As a little show of that appreciation, every patron, regardless of pledge amount, gets early access to every video, plus access to our patrons-only Discord server. We've got everything from a book club to a recommended reading list to educated users ready to answer whatever questions you have about socialism. I even try to do a live Q&A every now and then. It's a really great place to hang out, and I hope you'll come check it out. So, if you'd like to support the channel, join the Discord, and get early access to every...
Maybe sometimes white boys can get hit with the Dominican Ray and become good. Because JT has been hit with that Dominican Ray. And in the past, we just knew about Jeff Bezos getting hit with the Dominican Ray. We saw Mark Zuckerberg get hit with it, and they became worse. Second Thought, on the other hand, has only gotten better.
Next week in New York, there's a chance that socialism could actually finally win big electorally and make daily life for some 8 million working class people actually bearable.
Actually, Zohran Mamdani's not the first socialist mayor. I forget what his name is, but there was another openly socialist mayor of New York in the past. Also, many prior famous New York mayors, even though they didn't call themselves socialists, you could still consider to be quite open-minded towards social democratic expansion of safety nets, like Bill de Blasio and even LaGuardia. It was Bloomberg, I think. Yeah. Mayor Bloomberg was the first. Social democracy is not socialism. Yeah, I know. Except nothing in Zohran's platform is socialist. Everything that Zohran is advocating for is modest expansion of pre-existing social safety nets.
Zohran showed Democrats that there is a path to victory, and that path is real working-class politics. From a guy that's actually invested and doesn't just talk about vague stuff like rising together.
So let's rise together.
Instead of carrying a message of hope without substance, like so many Democrats do, Zohran's policies actually materially address people's problems.
I'm so glad I was there early on, because for years I've said, if you run a campaign like Zohran did, you will fucking win. And for years, Democrats never listened to me. And now it's so easy. I could just point to Zohran. There it is. I gave it out for free. It was free ball, baby. Like I said, over and over again. Free ball. You don't know you, little bro? True. For a guy who don't know me, he's kind of stood by me more than I expected, I'll be honest. I thought he would have fucked me by now. Cuomo's career assassinating you at the mainstream media level to prevent more future Zohran-like candidate collabs in the future? Yeah, except because it's an abject fucking failure. What does that show us? Also, I'm perfectly fine not fucking linking up with candidates, Zohran or not. You kidding me? Oh no. What will I fucking do? The reality of the matter is, look, I don't flex too much, but like in a lot of circumstances, the candidates need me more than I need them. A lot of you have no idea what kind of conversations take place behind closed doors. So let me tell you, Democrats are desperate to get on this platform for good reason.
But for all that positivity, that voice in my head is still there because I sort of skipped over the biggest parallel with Buffalo. It's not the lack of party endorsements or the hit pieces that killed Walton's bid. The key to Brown's victory was the money. Cuomo got about $5.3 million in donations, Adams nearly $7 million, and Mamdani almost $4 million. The difference, though, is that Zohran's campaign got to almost $4 million with 54,000 people donating. The other two can't even get to 10,000 donations. Their average contribution is in the hundreds of dollars and 10 times more than Mamdani's, meaning it's coming from people with a lot more money to spend. But that's not the freakout money. The freakout money isn't out in the open like this. It's in the new super PACs that keep popping up as the rich scramble for ways to shoot Mamdani down. For the primary alone, for example, Cuomo spent $22 million through his super PAC, Fix the City.
Oh my God. And still took that fucking L, baby. I'm sorry, brothers and sisters and the Dempers out there, the centrist Democrats that still watch. It seems your time has passed. You might say, sure, Cuomo was an exceptionally vulnerable candidate, but the very fact that even a weak Cuomo couldn't fucking unseat a unknown 34-year-old Muslim socialist. Oh my God. In the primaries? In the closed primaries of the Democratic Party in New York? Are you fucking kidding me? I'm telling you, man. Lib voters, by and large, are not playing by the old rules anymore. This is good. They are no longer playing by the old rules. They're no longer as susceptible to the electability arguments, for example.
The thing is, Fix the City is just one player in a sea of new PACs that are all attacking from different angles and courting the same donors.
Man, it's so fucking crazy. I think anyone to the left of center that wins in spite of these odds is overcoming legendary hurdles, man.
It's bad. But at the end of the day, I don't actually think that all this anti-Zohran money is going to be enough. He's popular. His policies are popular, and that shouldn't be surprising.
Yeah, the point that he brought up on the Andrew Schultz pod, Flagrant, was so good. And it's one that I think about all the time with any kind of left initiative. Zohran said, Bill Ackman and billionaires are wasting more money against me on this election then I would actually tax them. And what's really interesting about that is this is something that moneyed interest does. Instead of offering a modest pay raise in the aftermath of collective bargaining that takes place because a workplace unionized, companies would rather dump 10x that money in the short term to labor union busting law firms just so they can nip this in the bud because they see it as a long-term threat. In this instance, billionaires are scared that the finance capital could be controlled by a socialist. What does that say about other places? It makes them fearful that if Zohran is popular and successful and wins the race, other people are also going to run, that it could inspire others to also do the same.
All semblance of democracy is gone anyway. Trump said he'd get involved in the race if it looks like Mamdani will win. He's already threatened to arrest, deport, and denaturalize him. He wanted Cuomo or Adams. Either. I don't think he cares. They're both getting money from his donors anyway. He personally stepped in to get Adams cleared of federal corruption charges and is taking calls with Cuomo, who he's had a long-standing relationship with for decades. They're tight.
He also slammed him with a fucking DOJ case so he can dangle his freedom over his head in the same exact one-to-one way that the previous criminal indictment against Eric Adams was utilized by this admin. It's so transparent. It's not like these guys are dick riding Cuomo. They want him to win because they don't want Zohran to win. They want him to win. They want Cuomo to win because they can control Cuomo in the same way that they controlled Adams.
And look, I don't know how this election will go. And I don't know if Zohran's going to be able to get all this great stuff, all these things that he's promised, done if he wins. I do know that there's still a strong candidate for head fascist lackey in the race. A guy who is more than ready to make New York yet another hellscape for immigrants, for working class people, and for everyone else whose rights are being stripped away. A guy cozying up to landlords and Wall Street and Trump, and ready to completely fold while more and more people are thrown in the back of a van and shipped off to some black site on the other side of the world. This is cheesy, but if you live in New York and you haven't voted early, make sure you get out there.
Wow, why is this guy's betraying the Leninist revolutionary sentiment? I thought that guy was a fucking tanky. Unsubbing now. You understand? He has betrayed the revolution by endorsing phony-ass Zohran Mamdani. He is clearly a filthy revisionist. He is no longer abiding by Marxist orthodoxy. Everyone knows that the purest distillation of Marxist-Leninist principles is to avoid elections entirely, is to avoid the mass movements entirely. Chat, what is HASAN going on about? No, I'm talking about silly leftists who actually relitigate left-com positions that were addressed by the GOAT, Lenin, a century ago. You're a silly leftist? Okay, sure. Shitting on the left? No. This is no different than when I make fun of anarchists. Sometimes it's appropriate.